Hi, I'm Rachel,
I'm Julia.
where we live in faith every day.
This is Life.
Welcome to Life.
Hey guys! Hey!
So, we got a question from one of our viewers. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
So, we're going to read not the whole email, but part of the email so that you can get a grasp of what is going on with the situation. Now, the reason why we are reading it and then explaining and going to talk about it is because we see this different places and different situations, but in similar contexts. So we thought it would be a very cool thing to address and hopefully shed a little light to how to interact with the situation and how to maybe like not resolve it, but to better the situation. So
There's not always right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's just whatever, best we can.
right, praying to God because maybe He can utilize you in the right way to do, even if it seems small to us, it's really not that small to other people.
Right.
So
Okay, so here we go. So this is one from one of our subscribers. Okay. Basically what is going on is that the pastor sees it as a vision for the church to evangelize and reach out. On the surface level, it doesn't seem to be a problem because that's what the Bible tells us to do. And therefore we must and should evangelize. But observing and knowing where they, the pastor and the church members, are right now, I'm not sure if they are ready themselves to reach out to others. When I asked the pastor why he thinks evangelism is what they should do, he said, I don't like our church to be just another social gathering. We are a religious community. Which doesn't seem wrong on the surface level, but I feel like pastor is forcing upon the people or condemning them to evangelize, which I think is very dangerous. It is my mere guess, but I'm worried that religion might be an addiction to him. Theologically, he is very knowledgeable about the Bible while I'm not. But I just know it in my heart that something is not right. Could you please give me an insight on what to do about the situation?
okay. So just based off of that, a whole lot is going on. But for me, what stood out the most is the word force.
Oh yeah. So if we had to go back to where Rachel and I started this, right? Something I learned personally is God and forcing, no, it doesn't work. Because God is what? God is
All
love.
about freedom of choice and freedom of will.
I was getting there.
Yeah, oh, sorry. I got
okay.
there. Sorry. Okay.
No, it's good. It's good. I feel like at this point our subscribers know if we talk about love, it goes right away to characteristics and then it goes right into free will. So you guys get it.
Literally. So I mean, when he is trying to force his group to do something, he's taking
away free will.
A whole group of people's free will, which is actually not fair, right? When God says come to us, He says come as you are. Why? Because He wants us to come as we are so that He can meet us where we are and then mold us.
He wants to walk with us.
Right.
He doesn't want us to walk by ourselves to Him. He will walk with us the whole way to where He is.
Right. And it's the same way. If that is God's way of reaching out to people and sharing love to other people, wouldn't it be the same for God's people to do the exact same thing? Instead of being like, hey, okay, come. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to interact. This is how I want you to do certain things. But instead, reaching out to where they are, right? And working with them and building them up, right? And molding them, or sort of help molding them to being a better group. For example, he was just like, this is a religious community.
Right.
but what's missing?
Spiritual aspects missing.
Yeah.
So you can't have spirituality without religion.
Yeah.
So, he has the whole action going. He
Right.
has this, work ethic.
Based on what the email says, is that they have the religiosity aspect down. But then they're completely missing the spirituality.
And that comes with relationship. Like, building that relationship. And before I understand the pastor, he probably does have a relationship with God, hopefully.
Right.
But it's important, he's trying to lead these people to God, right? Only way to do that is first he needs to, I think, in my opinion, to have a relationship with the people.
Yes.
To help them connect to God.
Right.
But what's happening is like, oh no, like just you need to come here because you
Right.
need to. There's no relationship. If there was a relationship, the people can trust him and be like, okay, I trust
follow
this.
him.
And follow him. And then they will start creating a relationship with God as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the pastor's introducing his friend to
Someone else.
someone else. But if they don't know the pastor, it's like, why are you introducing me to your friend? I don't know who you are.
Right. And like, unfortunately, the person who emailed us, right, is not a pastor.
It's okay.
It's a member. They're a member,
Yeah.
right, of the church. So like, I'm sure that a lot of our viewers are not pastors, right?
But
So,
it's okay.
I mean, if you are a pastor, that's great, right?
Thank
But-
you for watching us.
But if you're not a pastor and you're just a member, what do? And I think that's really tough because you're trying to reach out and talk to a leader when you're not a leader yourself. And not only that, but they are the parents, right, of a whole group of people, right? So you are a child trying to speak to your parent. And a lot of times, unfortunately, the parent does not listen to the child. So how do we, as children of God, reach out to the parents and to others? It's a toughie. It really is.
It is.
And, maybe what you could do is reach out to the parents in a very loving manner. Not like, you should do this, you should change this. Ugh. Please don't start with the word you, okay?
No.
No, but instead what you can do is I feel, right? It's how you word things and how you approach that person, right?
What are you observing? What do you see? Because that's actually super important. And, I don't know what your leader or pastor may be like, how they'll react. But, personally for us, if our kids tell us something, as leaders, sometimes we'll be like, oh man, like we messed up, but we'll be taken into consideration. It's important because we need to know how they feel and if it's a safe environment and what we need to do in order to, cater to our youth.
Right.
So it's super important that you sit down with this person, talk to them about your feelings and what you think may be best. I don't think pointing fingers is the best idea because sometimes that's where his defense will go up.
Yeah.
Right?
So instead, what you could probably do as a member is to build a relationship with your pastor first, in the very minute way, right? You just like talk about like the stupidest things and like connect with that person because not only are you trying to change how this pastor is interacting with the group or trying to, like what they are trying to do with the group, but also the only way you can do that is by having a relationship with your own pastor. And by creating that relationship with your own pastor, maybe he or she will start listening to what you have to say because they're starting to trust you and listen to what you have to say. But if you just come up to this individual and start being like, hey, pastor, like, I don't feel like, I don't feel like, what you are doing is appropriate or it's right, and start to already like, boom, like directly like attacking what you think is a problem. Because then all of a sudden this pastor feels like, oh, you're trying to say I'm doing something wrong, right? And a lot of people, okay, I'm not going to say a lot of people, many people, okay, I'm not going to even say many people, almost everyone everyone does not like to be wrong.
That's true.
It's just automatic.
Yeah, it's human instinct.
Yeah. And so when you try to point out that someone is wrong, especially a pastor, all of a sudden their defenses go up. And what we mean by defenses, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or like they'll start coming up with excuses.
They'll start closing their ears. They
Right.
won't listen. So at that point, it's useless to even like
say
talk.
anything.
Yeah, because it's just a waste of time and effort.
And energy.
Energy, yeah. And you just end up in a conflict.
Exactly. So that's what we mean by defenses, right? So instead of directly hitting whatever the issue may be, it's like kind of go around it and build that relationship and kind of like package it nicely. You might have to candy coat it very, very, very well, right? To be able to interact with this person about the issue, right? And be like, okay, this is what I've observed. Like, what do you think? Like, this is how I feel, right? And this is how the other people might feel, right? And then explaining to them in a very detailed way. Like, okay, you know, so like this is what I think, and like this is how I think it should be, and this is my suggestion. I don't know if you're gonna take it or not, right? I don't know if this is helpful, but this is what I think, right? And so you're letting them know that it's just your opinion and only your opinion,
Right.
and you're letting them choose. See that freedom of choice? Whether they should listen to you or not.
Right. Instead of forcing it, just the moment you force things, you just become the same person as that person. And you don't want that. You know? You don't want to mirror that.
Right.
So another thing is, yes, you need to you know, it's important that we change, or you know, we want to change this person, but that's impossible without a relationship, just like Rachel says. But also you having a relationship with God and you changing yourself. And I know this sounds like a long process, and it takes patience, because once you have an understanding of yourself and you change yourself for, you know, God's will, then automatically even the pastor will see that. You know, unfortunately, he can't do that, but you can do that. You can be the light, be like, show it in the most loving manner, and then the pastor will see that, and the pastor will be like, you know, is more willing to change, right? And that's what we want. It's supposed to be a domino effect. Everyone else is supposed to see that change and be like, oh, I want to be more like this person. And you know, that's one of the reasons I you know, changed my whole like perspective of, you know, of God and how I want to live, because of some of the people I looked up to. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to live that life. I want to have a relationship with God because that person has a relationship with God, and it looks awesome,
Right.
you know?
Right. And that's the thing too. Another thing to think about too is that you can't reach out to a group of people.
Oh no.
You can, maybe, but the best way to reach out to anyone is to reach out individually, one person at a time.
Yes.
Spending quality time, even if it's for 5 minutes with one person, just like Jesus did, right? He spent time with each individual of the disciples.
Right.
He could have had hundreds of disciples, right? But no, how many disciples did he have?
12.
12, right?
Just 12.
Exactly. And so some people, right, they can reach out to maybe a few more people. There are a lot more social butterflies out there, right? But if you're not, reaching out to one person at a time. And before you know it, you've reached 50, 60, 100 people just by spending quality time with each individual person. That's the other issue, right? The pastor was trying to reach out to I don't know how many people, right? A group of people, rather than trying to have a relationship with each individual in that youth group.
Right. And it seems like he's like, we must have it. We should have it, right? You know, the whole social gathering. Again, social gathering, we're social beings.
Yeah.
So that's something you can't completely take away.
No,
you know,
actually, we can use that
to the benefit
Yeah.
of, you know, creating a stronger youth group.
Yeah.
And connecting them to God.
having a social gathering, I know we talked about this in one of our videos, right? Is great.
It is great. It's actually,
It's a strong point.
it is to a certain degree.
Yeah, but you can utilize that,
Yeah.
right, to your own benefit.
To re-guide them in the right direction.
Right. And maybe, all they talk about is,
Basketball.
okay, there we go. Basketball, right? And then, you can be like, whoa, it's a team effort, right? Be like, oh, I can see how God, uses different people. That's why different people have different parts of the body to do different things for God's will. And then you can connect it, right? And then sort of like kind of slip it in there, you know? And it's like you're planting seeds, right? You're just slipping it in there and doing it a little at a time and then changing the focus of the social aspect and turning it into God's conversation about God.
Right.
Of course, it's going to take some time and a lot of effort, right? But again, it has to start with you.
Right. And whole evangelizing, it's great to go evangelize. It is. It's good to go, do your outreach. But also, we have, especially for our church, we like to focus a lot on the inreach.
Yeah.
So in the inner of the church. And I think this is very important because, again, you can't reach out to others when there are people inside your church, just people around you
That need to be reached out to.
reach out to, right? So really you can do evangelism right inside your church. And I think that's what maybe the pastor's forgetting, that he can be evangelizing within the church before having his people actually go out and evangelize to other people. Like, how are they supposed to do that when they don't have a relationship with God? Because evangelism is all about witnessing to others,
Right.
Showing them who God is.
Yeah.
But if you don't know who God is, what's the point?
How are you going to do it?
Yeah.
If the church is only a social gathering, how are you going to take these people who don't have a relationship with God, right? Who don't really know God, right? To go out to evangelize to people who don't have a relationship with God, to bring them to God. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it's okay to be another social gathering. Utilize that, and
To your benefit.
yeah, and through that evangelize to the people that's right in front of you.
With social gatherings.
Yeah.
Meet them where they are,
Right.
not bringing them to where you are.
Yeah. So, this is something we discuss in our own, Rachel and I at our church with our other leaders. Hey, it's great to go out and do things. It's really great to, evangelize to other people, witnessing to others. But it's also important that we focus inside. We need to grow inside and then be that light to others. Because if we go on the inside of our church, I think, again, it's about numbers. But the quality, if we show good quality, everyone else will see that and be attracted to that quality.
Right. How to resolve any issues, it starts with you.
Yeah.
How do you interact with the other people, right? If you see that the pastor is having an issue, right, and doesn't have a relationship with God, maybe it's on you that have the candle lit to go to the pastor and light his candle, right? And then from him, let him go out and light the candles of all the other members of the church. So if you see something that is an issue, then it's your responsibility to do something about it.
And honestly, just be like, hey, pastor, how am I supposed to go evangelize when I don't even know, when I don't have a relationship with God? I want to know more about God. Can you teach me about God? Maybe that will change his mind, wanting to learn more about God and his love.
Right.
And then, if once you know that, you can go evangelize.
And also by asking the pastor, right, to teach you about God.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have a relationship with God. And by you asking can maybe push him to learn more about the Bible and have a relationship with God.
And that's super important. That's why I think youth pastors have a huge role. And, if youth pastors aren't there, then it's important there's a leader, at least one leader or an elder to help with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is, again, you might seem alone. This goes for anyone. You might seem like you're alone at the moment. Am I the only one seeing this? Is this the right thing, wrong thing? You're doing great. Again, just be that person to approach him and make that change. You know, members, you can do it. I was a member. I was literally in the bottom.
Yeah.
And I still stepped up, and I was like, I don't think this is right. So
It's interesting because God can utilize the most insignificant,
Yes.
seemingly insignificant person and make the biggest and greatest change shift for
Right.
the group.
Yeah.
So don't doubt yourself. Don't look at yourself as minute and little and not capable of making a change. Instead, go out in faith. Have faith, right?
oh, that's super important, guys.
Not, oh, ye of little faith. Have faith, even if you have the faith of the size of a mustard seed.
Yeah.
Those things are super tiny, guys. You can change. You can shift a mountain, right? You can move a mountain. So have faith. Go out there and do something about it. But it starts with you. Also, you know, if you have some ideas, leave them in the comment section below so that, you know.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
And what you want to tell the subscriber? Like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe you have your own experiences.
And, you know, through it, we can learn from each other.
Yeah, I want to know because
Yeah.
we just had our own experiences. So
Yeah, we're just speaking out of our knowledge and our experience. So, you know, it's just our experience,
Yeah.
right?
No
And our
correct
knowledge.
answer.
Yeah, there isn't. There's many correct answers out there. It's just one of millions, right, out there. So, yeah.
yeah, so if you guys like this video, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, please.
And hit the bell for notifications of videos similar to this one. And till next time, bye guys!